And we're live. Hey, everybody, John Malanca, United Patients Group. Be informed and be well. And we thought we'd do something in the spirit of Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving to you. Happy Thanksgiving to Edgar and Anna back there. And Edgar and Anna, Edgar's a professional chef, culinary chef. And I asked him if he and his wife would join us for a little Thanksgiving tribute. It's been a crazy year for all. And so I wish everybody happy Thanksgiving. So Edgar and his wife, Anna, are from the Boston area, and their company is called Dope Dinners. Sorry.
Dope Dinners, that's right.
I'm so excited to get this out. I'm like, I'm not going to blow it. But Dope Dinners is the name of the company, Dope Dinners Boston. Social media will get all that out for you today. But welcome, guys. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having us, John. And happy Thanksgiving to everyone out there.
Hi, John.
And our audience is going to love this. So we've never done this before, and this is the first. I've done podcasts, we've done filming on a bunch of different things. We've never done the cooking show, and
awesome.
So I want to thank my colleague and friend Beth Dost, RN, who has been on the show and done a lot over the years with us. Who you guys both know, or Anna, you know, and
yeah.
So I said, who can we get on here to do a cooking show? And they're like, oh, who can we get on? We have the perfect couple. So welcome. And thank you, Beth, for your connections and what you do for this industry and beyond. And so what are we doing today? I've done a little prep here, and I'm excited to share with the audience. And I know this will be my part of my dinner tonight, but can you share what we're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're doing so we're here in New England. So we're doing a classic butternut squash soup, or a butternut squash bisque, because we're going to use a little bit of cream. So it is going to be vegetarian, but it won't be dairy free, unfortunately. But we can make it dairy free, so we can talk about that later. But yeah, we have roasted butternut squash, and I'll show this to you all. So yeah, roasted butternut squash with some onion, and then seasoned with cumin and coriander and black pepper.
And so we'll put the ingredients for you, our listeners, as well. And this recipe is for serving 4 to 6 or 4 people, 2 to 4.
This recipe is for serving 2 to 4 people.
Okay.
It's a quick, it's a quick recipe to just get done at home. If you're in a rush to get a hearty soup. But you don't want to take all day to cook it. It should take roughly 90 minutes to cook. But it's a quick, easy, or I shouldn't say it's so quick, but it's nice and easy to do that. You don't have to pay attention too much to it. So it's a couple steps, but it gets right to the point, and it's hearty and delicious, and it goes really good with the grilled cheese too, if you're craving something else to go along with it as well.
I love it. Well, let's get going here. I started on due to the power of cooking shows, and I've watched many of them online and on TV. I did a couple steps ahead of time for our listeners so we can get this going. But
absolutely,
let me grab my pan here, and I'll do a pre. And so what I like doing is putting on a parchment paper. You can do it directly on your cooking sheet. What do you recommend being a chef? I'm a home chef.
Yeah, parchment paper is the way to go. I keep some in my drawer down here. Parchment paper, also known as Logan wrap. You can use or just for this one I just did straight onto the sheet tray. As long as you're willing to do the hard work to scrub the sheet tray when you're done, it can easily just go straight on there as well. No problem with that. You just have to be willing.
Is there an upside or a downside to parchment paper? Because I know there's an upside downside to tinfoil. Is that the case?
Yeah, so to parchment paper, the upside is easy cleaning, but depending on how long you're roasting something and how oily or fatty whatever it is that you're roasting, it could stick to the pan, and it could be a pain in the ass to get off. So but I mean, really,
and then also, is there a top and bottom? Is there one are they both the same?
They're both the same.
Okay.
It's just sometimes some folks would flip it over if it comes on a roll. I like to try to get the ones that come out of a rectangle box.
Yep.
I may have some in here.
It comes out more like a tissue box.
Pardon my messy drawer here, but yeah, like
so
this.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I have mine was on the roll, and I put that on there, and so we start off with butternut squash. You can do it the hard way, the easy way. You can purchase them already cubed, and we're
Correct.
saying, Edgar, about a pound is what your recipe calls for, correct?
Yeah, because you want a nice a pound. Once it's cooked down, it's gonna once it's roasted, the water content will roast out of the squash itself, so they'll shrink. So a pound is actually going to lend itself to like a nice hearty puree to keep the soup nice and thick. Okay. And if you wanted to stretch it and possibly feed more than 4, you just have to add a little bit more veg stock and maybe some more cream.
Okay.
And that'll kind of stretch it a little longer. But it's mainly for the nice thickness to keep it nice and hearty and rich.
So I'm going to do step 1, and I know you're already at step 2, and I have a step 2 already, but I'm going to do this for our listeners. So basically, what we're doing, what Edgar is recommending, is getting about a pound. I did a little more because I'm feeding a little more, spreading it across here. When you said in your recipe, Edgar, you have yellow onion. But it says cut into quarters. Is it cut into quarters into cubes, or is it cutting into quarters, literally into quarter of the?
Literally into quarters.
Okay.
Yeah. Just cut it in 4 pieces. It's a rough chop. Just because it's going to roast in the oven.
Yep.
For quite some time. So you want the onion to essentially bake while it's roasting, so that the sweetness and the juices of the onion kind of base themselves. So just a rough chop, pretty much a rough chop on everything. If you do get the butternut squash that's not pre-packaged and pre-diced, okay, you do have a whole squash. You could actually just cut the whole squash in half, throw it in the oven, and then scoop out the middle once it's nicely roasted. But
so
yeah,
this is your quarter cut.
Yes.
Okay, so you cutting the quarter, and you do this with what your recipe calls. Is it doing 2 onions or 1?
2 onions.
2 onions.
Well, if they're that big,
yeah,
maybe 1, and then you could actually, the quarters that you have, you can cut those in half. So then maybe cut them into, I guess, 8s at that point.
Gotcha.
Just so that they roast nicely all the way through. If your onions are that big, I had. When I started this product today, I had medium-sized onions. So I used like 3 of those, and I was able to cut them in quarters nicely.
If we were in Texas, I'd say things are bigger in Texas, but they're California. So, okay, so we'll do that. And I mean, the colors of the fall right now are just beautiful. I love butternut squash too. So when you came up with this recipe, I was like, okay, you're speaking my language here.
Yeah. I mean, well, this is, we're in New England, so this is how we really enjoy our fall. Is the fall bounty, all the lovely squashes, the different heirloom squashes that we get. We recently did a beautiful squash soup with a honey nut squash, which is basically a baby butternut squash.
Okay.
But they're like, super sweet and kind of like almost dessert-like. So you can actually roast them in the oven whole, cut them in half and put some whipped cream or ice cream and drizzle some maple syrup or hit it with some sugar. But that's for another show.
Okay. This is and it's okay just having it like this, or would you cut it?
Yeah, honestly, you could leave it. You don't have to break them apart.
Really?
Once they roast in the oven, like they'll start to cook. So I left some of mine intact, like this.
Okay.
I don't know if you can see that.
Yep.
So that way, while some of the rings roasted, but it started to like essentially bake.
Okay.
And kind of like caramelize the inside, and so everything got soft. So you want the sweetness to kind of lock in there as well.
Okay. So what we're going over here, I have the salt, pepper, And so I'm a big fan of coarse salt. And is that what you're recommending as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Coarse salt, kosher salt.
Kosher salt is what I was getting at.
Yeah. So, yes, that's my go-to, only because the granules are bigger. Yeah. It's a bit harder to over season. I think a little kind of goes a long way with it.
And then a little pepper after that, correct?
Yes.
So a little.
So I like to use I love the fresh ground pepper. I actually use a mortar and pestle for mine.
You know what? And I have one here, and it's somewhere in my kitchen. But yeah, like I said, I'm a home chef, man. I'm a wannabe chef. So when you said you wanted to come on, I was like, come on, bring it on.
All right.
The pumpkin seeds as well. And so pumpkin seeds, are we putting those on?
No, so we're gonna the pumpkin seeds are actually gonna be for a garnish.
Garnish, okay.
So yeah, that's gonna be like part of the crispy topping that kind of rounds the entire dish out. So with those, I actually toasted those. Just toasted them in a pan, normal.
Beautiful.
And then they're nicely toasted, and then season them with a little bit of salt as they're toasting, just so that the salt adheres to the seeds themselves.
Okay.
Yeah, they're a nice healthy snack. You can put it on your yogurt. You can just eat them.
I love
as
them.
is.
Love them.
Yeah.
Coriander mixed on here as well.
Yes.
I'm a fan of coriander. And then you said cumin as well, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't have cumin, but I did have a little. And you can put whatever you want. And I'm someone who likes to cook whatever you have in the kitchen. I end up putting a tiny little dash of curry powder on there.
That works because there's cumin and coriander in there already as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So actually, I'll talk about why I use cumin and coriander.
Please.
So I like to have just like a mix of cumin and coriander already, like in a deli. And the reason I use it is because it's a nostalgic flavor for me. I'm from the Caribbean.
Okay.
Yeah. So so cumin and coriander is kind of like the base for a lot of different Caribbean flavors, as well as a lot of like East Asian flavors or East Indian flavors. So there's a lot of like East Indian influence in the Caribbean. So that's why we use a lot of cumin and coriander, cilantro, a lot of those like super herbaceous herbs. And I like to add that in the food that I make, because then it reminds people like, yes, I'm using the ingredients that are from here, but I want to let you know where I'm from too. So I want to, add a little spice.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen Edgar's website or actually Instagram page, you'll see some of his work, his completed work, which is Dope Dinners Boston, and on Instagram, and you'll see his whole mixture of what he's done. How did you get into cooking?
So one time
while we get into that story, let me get this, and I'll get this in the oven and take it to the next thing. So salt, pepper, coriander. What I use is a little chili powder, curry powder, or cumin, which you were talking about.
Yeah.
What am I missing here? And I was going to go next with, there's my curry powder, I knew I had it.
All right.
And then what I have medicated olive oil.
Absolutely.
And so you're saying 3 tablespoons or 3 teaspoons?
So just to season them all, because you have a lot of vegetable there, I would go with 3 tablespoons, just to be able to coat everything nicely.
Okay.
So you can either do this on the sheet tray, or you can actually do it in a bowl. It really depends on your preference, but you're just gonna sprinkle the oil, the medicated oil in there, and then kind of like toss everything in the sheet tray, and then toss it in the oven. That way, all the seasoning can adhere to all the vegetables that are on the sheet tray. So yeah, that's the way I like to cook.
I'm going
to get my hands in there.
I'm going to go 4 tablespoons because it's been a stressful year. and
Yeah,
we're doing Thanksgiving
absolutely.
this year. So,
And then we're gonna go with a little bit on top too. So make sure you have some to garnish with as well.
Gotcha. Okay, so I have everything listed here. My hands are clean, and I'm going to mix. Correct?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Mix away.
Mix away. So again, how did you get into cooking?
Yeah, so got into cooking. One time so everyone in my family cooks, is a great cook.
Yeah.
And
Did you learn from mom or grandmother?
Well, grandmother. So
Yeah.
I wanted to fry my own egg one time, and I didn't want to I didn't want to keep asking my grandma to do it or my mom to do it. So one time I just asked my grandma, and she showed me, and ever since then it's just been I've just been cooking. Yeah, I also grew up watching the Food Network a lot. I watched the Travel Channel a lot. So always watched shows with like Andrew Zimmern and Anthony Bourdain and Samantha Brown, and was always really into travel and leisure and hospitality in general.
Same.
So I think that's why I've always been. It's just always been something that it's always been a part of my life. Also growing up, my dad has been in the hospitality industry my entire life. So and I mentioned before, I'm from the Caribbean. I'm actually from St. Martin. St. Martin is known as the culinary jewel of the Caribbean. So it's another reason, cooking is everywhere down there. So it's another reason that, I think it's in my blood kind of thing.
It's funny. Either you have customer service in your blood or, coming. I'm also, I was in college, and I worked in restaurants and waited tables, and I love cooking. And, it's in your blood. It's definitely in your blood, like you said. So I want to continue hearing your story, but I'm going to do this in segments here. So everything's mixed together. I'm putting it in the oven. Is it a fluke that it's 420 on the oven temperature, or is that normal?
Absolutely. Yeah, 420. Okay. And if you have a convection oven, so an oven with a fan, it's actually even better because you'll get the nice caramelized. You'll get that nice caramelized roasted, color that you want. That's going to be flavor. But if you don't, then 420 for roughly, I did 42 minutes, or I said 42 minutes. But you can do, basically roast them high and hard so that they caramelize and they cook all the way through, because they're also going to cook more once they get into the pot. So
gotcha. So I'm going to put this in the other oven, Edgar, and it's already set for 420. So keep talking. I'm right here.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the reason you want to roast these at a high temp is so that we can kind of develop what's called a Maillard crust, or a Maillard reaction. So that's when food gets starts to caramelize, essentially, and that caramelization just adds more flavor. Typically, I love doing this on a grill. It's kind of cold outside today, so we didn't do the grill.
Yeah.
But I love charring these vegetables on the grill first, and then getting them into the pot, and then cooking them down. That charred grill flavor really adds a lot of adds a big depth of flavor, actually. So I love that.
So how did I do here?
Perfect, actually.
So this was really good. I took the head because of time. I've already put this in there for 42 to 45 minutes. I haven't tasted yet, but
how they taste?
Great, and the seasoning I can
just awesome.
Is wonderful. The onions, the seasoning. You know what I did in the first round?
What's that?
I actually accidentally toasted the.
That's not a bad idea.
Okay. That's a good thing about cooking. You can make mistakes and go from there.
Yeah. So actually, I'll explain what you just did. So in Mexico, they do that a lot. They'll toast the seeds, or they'll cook the seeds or roast them with the vegetables and kind of make a stew, and that's how that's how moles are made, essentially.
I love mole.
Yeah. So you're basically making. It's not the full mole experience, but you could call it a mole de calabaza. You know,
it's the mole. What is it?
mole de calabaza, because calabaza is a
Mole de calabaza.
Yeah.
Good. All right. So my mistake added a little flavor. And the good thing about cooking,
and actually, you know what? I would cook everything that you have there because that's just going to add even more depth of flavor. And that's what I was talking about earlier. Like, you know, roasting all of that and then pureeing it and then, you know, having it, you taste every little step, and then the smokiness and the roasted flavor just really comes out, and it's just it creates a wonderful experience.
Well, good. So next step, I have in the pot over there, and you call it as a hard pot, I guess. What you called it?
Yeah, or a heavy bottom pot.
Heavy bottom
or
pot.
You could use. So I have something similar to you. It's like a Le Creuset.
Okay, so I'm going to put that in there when the roasted.
Yeah, I have something similar to you.
Okay, so let me get the head start on there with you. And so what we're doing for when you're following this, this is the roasted portion of it, and I'm going to add that to the heavy bottom, correct? The heavy bottom pan.
Yes.
That I've already included. That I put in here either chicken stock, vegetable stock, and you're doing what, about a quart and a half?
Yes, quart and a half, roughly 6 cups.
Okay. So I'm going to add it right into the simmering stock that's there.
And I like to make my stock at home. You could totally buy it. It's very, you know, you can purchase it anywhere. But it's also very easy to make. So if you do have that heavy cast iron pot that you're using, if you have something like that at home, you can, you know, just for my vegetable stock, I use carrots, onion, and celery. So I'll just, you know, cut them small and kind of roast them in the pan with a little bit of olive oil, and then add my water once I get some color. Okay. And then kind of season it with bay leaves and again the cumin and coriander, but I won't toast it. I'll just put it in there whole, and then a little bit of black peppercorn as well, and then strain it after about an hour, and then you have your homemade vegetable stock.
Beautiful. And then you can bay leaves.
Yes.
Sorry.
If you have dry bay leaves,
dry bay leaves. So 2 or 1?
Yeah, I would go with 2 for dry bay leaves, and if you had a fresh one, I would just go with 1 fresh one.
And heavy cream.
Actually, and also you could also use a cannabis leaf if you have the opportunity to have access to them. If you do have like trimmings, you can use that as flavoring as a bay leaf would. You just have to pull it out before you puree it.
Okay. But right now, so I'm putting, how much heavy cream do I put in here?
So we're going to do about I believe a cup and a third, I think.
Actually, you know what? I just said a 1 3/4 cup, I think what you said, right?
1 3/4 cup.
So 1 3/4 cup, and add the heavy cream in here. Well, it's a beautiful day here, so we're not experiencing the cold chill that you have out there in New England.
Yeah, it was a pretty chilly, gloomy day today, I'm not going to lie. So something like this for dinner is perfect.
Yeah. Any plans for Thanksgiving?
What are we doing for Thanksgiving? We're not doing any dinners given the recent, uptick in COVID, but we are going to, cook for ourselves and probably just going to cook some chicken, and Anna's going to cook her famous stuffing, or her nanny's famous stuffing, and she's going to cook her nanny's famous eggplant, which are 2 dishes that I will go to the end of the world for.
Yeah, so we're going to just stay home and cook way more than for 2 people.
Yeah.
and just eat it
all.
And how long does this last if you overcook it? Like you said, 4 to 6. But right now, if it's just the two of you at home, can you put in the refrigerator, freezer at all?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Once you puree it, you can put it in the fridge. It'll keep in the fridge. Just because there is dairy in it, I would be aware that it might go bad after about 2 weeks in the fridge. But it'll probably be in the fridge it freezes perfectly and it defrosts really nicely.
Cool. Yeah. So I'm looking at. So we're pretty much keeping that simmering in that pot there for 20 minutes, correct?
Correct.
And then the maple agradulce, which is we want to talk about that, and I'm going to get a little head start. So that's about 10 minutes on that as well.
Absolutely. So while the vegetables are simmering with your stock and cream mixture, and kind of cooking even more, you just get a small saucepan.
Saucepan, is this okay?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was going to say something like this. Yeah, perfect.
Gotcha. And so what I've done here for our followers, that is 1 cup of maple syrup that I've added in here. And I put on the saucepan at low heat, correct, is what I've done?
Yes, low heat. Super low heat because you don't want it to kind of overcook on you and kind of turn into caramel. It's eventually going to turn into a caramel, but you don't want it to do that before you add all your other ingredients.
Okay. And so we're going to do this for about 10 minutes. And so I have this on low heat. And I've diced up some shallots already, but we're going to do, you're adding, it's pretty interesting when I read your ingredients here, shallots, lemon, Thai chili sauce, your favorite will do. Cook on low heat until the syrup begins to bubble and reduce for 10 minutes. Remove from heat and strain. And then you were talking about save and use the cooked shallot and chili. It kind of turns into a jam, is what you're saying, right? That you can use.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can use that jam on like cheese if you want to. If you want to do a cheese board. Okay. During the holidays, especially, you can. It's a tasty jam that you can put on brie or on any kind of cheese. Really, it goes good on any kind of charcuterie as well.
Okay.
It's like a nice sweet and savory, spicy. It's like sweet, sour, spicy. Salty, kind of hits all the umami flavors that you want. So
I love it. I'm back on the pumpkin seeds. I love pumpkin seeds.
Yeah.
So I have the maple syrup going, and then this is shallots that I've already prepared that I've cut up and are diced up and chopped up into small pieces, and just pour that right in there.
Yep, just pour it right in there.
Okay.
Yep. All of it right in.
What was the other flavor in there? I know I saw lemon in there.
Some lemon juice and some lemon zest.
Thai chili sauce. I love a little spice and kick too. So how much would you recommend with this?
Yeah. So for the Thai chili sauce, I would go. So it's a cup of maple syrup. So I would go with, let's say, 2 tablespoons.
2 tablespoons.
I think that's what I had written in the recipe, but if not, I can change that. Really also depends on how spicy you want it too. I go with 2 tablespoons to start. Thai chili sauce does have some sweetness as well, so it's not entirely spicy.
And so I have the shallots where I added the lemon. That was my next question for you. So I have lemon and lemon zest. How much lemon would you recommend me putting in?
Yeah, so I would go with the zest of 1 lemon.
Zest of 1 lemon.
Yep. So I would zest it first before you. Yeah. So I would zest it right in the pot.
Okay.
Yep.
But make sure you don't zest the sticker, right?
Yes, correct. Make sure you don't zest the sticker.
Or your finger.
Or your finger.
Or my finger. Okay, and so when you say zest, is it the whole lemon? I mean, literally going around?
Yes, correct. Try not to get the pith. None of the white. Just the yellow.
Okay. It's already smelling delicious here, by the way.
Oh, awesome.
Good. Yeah, it is here too.
And then when you say lemon, how much lemon am I putting in?
So for the agradulce, we'll do half of a lemon.
Half a lemon. And you can use the same lemon that you just zested. I usually do my lemon like this.
Perfect.
Or do you use the strainer? So half a lemon, correct?
Correct.
And this is still on a low simmer, is what you're saying?
Yes. And then just like let it all cook
Okay.
for, I would use a wooden spoon and kind of, stir everything that's in the pot. And just keep,
what'd you call the spoon? It's called a which spoon?
a wooden spoon, just a wooden spoon.
Oh, wood. I thought you said a witch spoon. I said, I've never heard of a witch spoon before.
Oh, no, wooden spoon.
Yeah. So
Or any spoon will do, but a wooden spoon. I like using a wooden spoon whenever I'm cooking with sugar, just because it makes the cleanup a bit easier.
Yep. Okay. So and that will kind of go for about 10 minutes and kind of turn into consistency of a jam, is what you're saying, correct?
Well, it'll turn into the consistency of like a syrup, so it'll be like
perfect.
that. If you can see my squeeze bottle.
Yep.
And once you strain it, or something I like to do is everything that you had in that pot. If anyone has like an immersion blender at home or a stick blender, while it's in the pot, if you blend it in, it'll turn into this like really jammy consistency, and then strain that, and that's whatever's left over is what you want to use for cheese boards, and that'll be the jam. But the syrup is what'll be the agradulce.
Gotcha. And then also as an ending of this, or in addition to this, we're making a chai almond coconut CBD infused drink or cocktail, right?
Yeah, we like to call them mocktails or elixirs, actually. So I've got one here.
And so, and what is that there?
So yeah, so this is I like to make my own chai mix.
Okay.
But you can use your favorite chai, that you like from the store.
So what I have, and again, I probably went the quick way, which is the chai in the packs like this. Does that work?
Yeah, that works perfectly.
And so, am I putting this, making a chai tea like in these are little tea bags, I believe. And am I just putting it in hot water in tea bags? And am I putting this in hot water and making tea with it?
Yeah. So instead of hot water, I use coconut milk or a coconut almond mix.
But warm or not warm?
Warm.
Okay.
Steep the tea.
Yeah. So I steep the tea in that. You can actually use your favorite, like if you want to make it more of a dessert, you can use like your favorite sweetened coconut milk. Like the one that comes in a can, and then just cut it with a little bit of almond milk, and use that to steep the tea in, and kind of make it more of like a fun dessert, and then add your favorite CBD into it.
So basically, shall I start boiling something in here with the little?
Yeah.
And would you go with the almond or coconut, or are you doing both?
I do them both.
Okay.
And just for folks, the coconut might be a bit lumpy.
Yeah.
But again, once you strain everything, you could throw that in a blender and blend it all, or even just strain it, and then sweeten it with a little bit of maple syrup or turbinado sugar or even brown sugar. So you can even add brown sugar in there, and kind of sweeten it up if you want, because it won't be too sweet off the top when you first try it, but once you add a little bit of sugar or add a little bit of maple syrup, it'll be delicious.
So right now we have, let me see how I can do this here. I'm going to bring you guys over with me to take a look at
absolutely.
what's happening in the kitchen here. So right here, is that cooking too high?
That looks beautiful.
Is it okay?
That looks great.
And the same thing
Even
over here.
similar blue pan.
Yeah.
So
That's great. Should we show them ours?
I just want to be a good student from the world-class travel channel, cooking channel, Chef Hunt.
Well, not yet. I'm hoping to get there one day.
Well, don't forget us. You started here on United Patients Group.
Yeah, there we go. But yeah, just for folks to see,
Look,
mine looks, mine looks very, very similar.
Okay, so mine looks a little more watery than or I should say watery, more liquid. Did it cook off?
Yeah, mine reduced a little bit. So as it cooks, when it cooks for that 20 minutes, it'll reduce. And once it reduces, you'll kind of smell the cream caramelizing a little bit.
Okay.
Once that happens, and then that's when it's pretty much ready to, and all the vegetables in there will start to break down, and that's when it's ready to puree.
Yeah. Oh, it smells so good.
Yeah, I can already smell it here, and
yeah, I mean, you can even cook it for longer than 20 minutes. I said 20 minutes just because I wanted to make it easy on the average home cook that wants to just get dinner going. But if you wanted to potentially cook it for an hour, you could do that.
And you would definitely have it a little simmer and a low heat, correct?
Yeah.
Low and low. And
you know what? I even like to at this point, I even like to season the cream mixture or the pot that you have, like the liquid. I like to season that with the same seasoning that I roasted the squash with, because then that'll kind of bring out a bit of that flavor.
More flavors.
More.
Okay.
Yeah.
So while we're doing that, tell me what you're doing at Dope Dinners. I mean, because I've been on your Instagram page. Impressive stuff. Like I said, I was in the restaurant business for years, and so I'm a foodie at heart.
Yeah.
And seeing that, I was like, wow. I mean, you have some beautiful creations, and now with your beautiful creations, you're incorporating cannabis in there. And so you want to talk about some of the things that you're doing, what you've done, what you plan on doing?
Yeah. I mean, primarily, we've just been doing, I guess, on-site dinners for small groups of folks. We've been doing a lot of takeout. People will, kind of email us and want like a custom menu, and we design that menu so that it's able to be translated in a takeout way.
Yeah.
So we've been really good at being able to navigate COVID, especially during these unprecedented times, because we've been doing a lot of parties and things like that. So I'll let Anna talk about a lot more of what we've been doing.
Yeah, I mean so Dope Dinner started. We've been married. It was 3 years in August, and so we. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thanks a lot. So we took like a belated honeymoon a few months later, and as the story goes, we were sitting on a beach in Mexico, and that's when we sort of put this whole vision together and put it out there, and came home and started doing it, and started basically doing it for friends, and we would do a 5 or 6 course meal for 6 to 12 people. That's kind of our sweet spot. So, and then before COVID, we would do sort of seasonal parties where we would be able to keep the price a little lower. People could come meet us and just, have a party, which of course that's something we're really missing right now. But
I've heard of your Beth Doss, who I mentioned at the beginning. Her daughter and her husband had been to one of your dinners, or they had you for cooking.
They hosted one at their home.
We did a birthday dinner. They're wonderful. They're big supporters. Yeah, we love them.
Yeah. Well, I started United Patients Group from an idea with my wife back in 2010, 2011. And so when I hear
that's awesome.
doing stuff like this, I love it, and
nice.
Keep going, because it's such a, isn't it a great feeling that you can do this with somebody and it's not work. It's fun, and you can spend, at least for me, we enjoyed 24 hours a day, and it was normal, and and so you guys, and I'm certain there's things that you love doing, Anna, that Edgar doesn't like doing, and vice versa, and it's called team, and I think that a great partnership, not only in business, but in life. And happy anniversary to you both. And I think that's awesome.
Thank
you.
I love it. I love it.
Thanks a lot.
Beautiful couple.
Yeah, you're right. Our
Great
skills
smile.
have. Thank you. Our skill sets have really complemented each other well. My background is more in event planning, in the sort of fundraising world, galas and that kind of thing. And then I'm just from a big Italian family where, you know, big dinners at home, multi-course dinners are just, you know, a normal.
That's me.
Yeah. So it works.
I come from a big Italian family, and this is my secret: garlic.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
And when I didn't see any garlic, I'm like, come on, I cook garlic with everything, Edgar. And I'm like, okay, I'll follow his lead.
We use a lot of onion though, so.
Yeah. I mean, he makes his own fresh. He'll dry out the garlic and then grind it up like fresh garlic powder. I'm like, okay, this works. All right. So what do you got up next? Oh wow! I can smell the chai. The chai.
Yeah. So actually, I can talk about my chai mix real quick.
Yeah, please. So let me get start on you. So while this is almost done simmering, which is the vegetables. So I have that over here, and then on this one here, I'm cooking with the maple syrup and everything else like that as well. And
how is that looking? Is that bubbling a little bit?
The maple syrup is. It's bubbling.
Perfect.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay.
So how much do you know? Do you have a timer? Do you have time left on it? Do you know? You could potentially cook it for a little longer, but all right. Perfect.
We're about 8 minutes and 22 seconds.
All right. Awesome. Yeah. So wait. So how much longer do you have on? Do you have time? Are you? I guess on schedule to puree your soup now, or?
Give me a couple more minutes on the puree, but I can start setting up the chai mix as we go. So I have, boom, where did I put it? Right here. Saucepan. Another saucepan, which I'll put the coconut and almond together in there, coconut almond milk together.
Yes. So you're going to put all the ingredients in there together and then steep it on a super low simmering heat.
Okay.
Just like let it come together, and that'll stay on there, until everything's done, and then pretty much be ready by the time everything is set and ready to go.
So I just went with almond breeze, almond milk. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
I did a little organics with the coconut milk. Does that work with you?
Oh, perfect.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would go. I would do a 1-to-1 ratio. So it's basically just as much as you want to drink or as much as you're trying to feed.
Okay.
For us, since it's just us two, I did 2 cups of each.
Now, is that something you can store, or if is it something that you should just make? Like if you have 4 people, just make it for 4 people.
Oh no, it's something you can definitely store. You can even enjoy it cold. You don't have to enjoy it hot. So
okay, so we'll do a 1-to-1 mix. So I'll go. Is 1 cup enough?
Yeah, absolutely.
So 1 cup, and for our real chef that know about ounces, that's 8 ounces.
Right.
And that was, and the only reason I know that because it says it right here. Other than that, I've been using Siri all day. How many pints in a quart? How many quarts? So there's my 1-to-1 ratio of almond milk to coconut milk.
Perfect.
And what else was I adding in there, Edgar?
So I did. You can add a cinnamon stick if you have it, and then your favorite chai mix. I actually made my own chai mix instead of using a bag. You can use your own, your favorite bag that you like, and just add a cinnamon stick and some turmeric in there just for extra flavor.
Okay.
And then obviously your favorite CBD.
So I have a ground cinnamon, so I don't have a cinnamon stick.
That's fine. Just a couple sprinkles in there.
Okay, and then what was the other thing you said?
So
Cinnamon
I used turmeric.
Turmeric. Okay.
Yeah, just because that also gives it some color.
Yep.
And then I also used allspice.
Okay.
And I used a little bit of clove.
And clove. Okay.
But these are, the spices that I use to make my own chai mix. I also use cardamom pods in there. Not everyone has a lot of those ingredients, but just so happens I do. So I like to make a lot of my own things that I can. I like to try to make.
Okay.
Yeah, you can even throw in some anise seeds if you have in there, some anise star.
I love that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. It smells yummy.
And then sweeten it with maple syrup or brown sugar.
I love maple syrup, so I can add that to the thing as well.
Yeah, you can season it. Yeah, you can sweeten it with that. As little or as much as you want, really. And if you wanted to make this like a warm winter alcoholic beverage, kind of like a toddy of some sort.
A little hot toddy,
you can actually put rum in this, and it's almost like a painkiller toddy, if you will.
Oh, there you go.
Hey, what would you call it?
So if you put rum in it in this mocktail, or then it becomes a cocktail, obviously, but you call it a painkiller toddy.
Painkiller toddy.
Yeah.
Painkiller toddy. Okay.
I just made that up on the spot.
Good, I like it.
Painkillertoddy.com. How about that?
Yeah. All right.
Okay, so I have, and then when do you put your favorite CBD in there? Afterwards or while it's cooking?
Afterwards.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
And so, boy, I can smell all these flavors right now. I can smell the cinnamon. I added a little more cinnamon than I wanted, but it's okay.
Yeah.
That's all
okay.
right. Yeah.
You can always add a little bit more milk to kind of dilute it. But honestly, with it'll pair very well with the flavors of the soup once once it's all said and done. So
I mean, I think it like smells like autumn in New England in here.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Are you sure that's not the cannabis?
That too.
That too.
Okay, so Edgar, I have my vegetables. They're simmering. It's been about 20 minutes.
Perfect.
And what do you recommend? Putting it into the blender now or straining it first?
No, I would put it into the blender.
So, but I'm putting it in the blender, but am I taking the bay leaves out, or am I blending it with?
Taking the bay leaves out.
Okay. And so, because it's hot and it's warm, and so for our listeners that are doing this at home, I generally would put it in a strainer. But because the only two things I need to pull out are the bay leaves, I might just pull the bay leaves out and then pour.
Yeah. So. Correct. So when you're doing that, so I would try to get, I guess, more vegetable than liquid in the blender. So that way you don't, so it doesn't get too hot and kind of like explode on you. But obviously, some liquid to help get the blending process going. Yeah. And if you do have another, another vessel, it looks like you're using a Vitamix.
I'm using Vitamix, correct.
Perfect. So that is my preferred blender. I know that not everyone will have one. But again,
I just pulled out the two bay leaves that I put in there. But other than that, I can put everything else in there, correct?
Yes.
But you want me to get more vegetable than sauce, correct?
Yeah, if you can, just so that it doesn't explode on you. Because if there's too much liquid in there, it'll pop the top of the.
So I'm gonna do the little strainer here and do it that way.
Perfect. I'm going to actually I'll wait till you're done, and then just to show folks at home, I'm actually going to use a hand blender to do this. I find this a lot easier than having to transfer it. That way, it kind of just all stays in one pot. This one I think we got for like $30.
Okay.
So this is the you can find these pretty much anywhere. I think they're a great tool to have at home, especially if you like making purees and
for those home chefs that don't have everything and you want it for Christmas, since we're a month out, $30.
Yeah.
Huh?
There we go.
And what brand is that?
This is the OXO.
OXO, yeah.
OXO. Yeah, OXO makes really good products, especially for the grip. You can grip things really well. It's really easy to clean. This comes apart so that this is dishwasher safe. We've had this for 3 years, and it's a workhorse, and it's always has impressed me every time I use it.
I like it because you don't have to pick up the pot and pour it into something else.
I just went through here.
It limits the amount of steps.
Yeah.
So
that looks perfect.
So that's good. And so what I'm going to do, put this on here. Is it a heavy blend, low blend? What would you recommend?
So I would start low.
Yeah.
And then kind of let things puree.
Okay.
Like kind of break down a little bit more, and then kind of go higher and higher. Because you want like a super silky smooth puree. We want like a very we're gonna blend it for a little longer than you think that you should.
Okay. So we'll go together. I'm gonna start low so it doesn't splash everywhere.
Correct.
And if you want to do the same, we can or just follow my lead. What are you also going to blend, or have you already taken that step?
Oh no, I'm also going to blend.
Okay.
I don't know if I should put you on mute. So actually, this might be okay. I think I'll be fine.
And so that's you're blending it directly in the pan.
Yeah, so that's the beauty about these hand blenders is that you don't have to. There's no transferring, and there's no you don't have to use that step. You just go directly into the pot and blend.
Go. So please be careful because it is warm if you're blending, so you don't want any splashes on you for anybody that's following us at home.
Yes. Yeah, be aware that everything is hot, so treat everything like it's hot. So yeah, like I said, always start low and then from there kind of pick up the speed. So that way we can get a cohesive, smooth puree and very silky and sexy, as we like to say. Ooh.
And so my chai tea is looks like it's bubbled up and it's warm.
Perfect. So you can turn the heat off and let all of that steep together for a little while, and it'll be
Okay.
So I would say by the time we're done with the puree and plate our soup we're done with our puree, season it and plate our soup, then we're good to go.
Okay.
So I also got to say, when you use the hand blender, it's nice to move the blender around the pot. That way you can get, everything that even got stuck onto the sides. You can try to get it all blended up, because all of that is flavor. So you want all of that. What are you drinking there?
I'm drinking nice Cabernet from California.
Oh, wonderful.
And I thought it'd go well with Thanksgiving dinner and what I'm preparing as well. So
absolutely.
So we
should crack some wine. I recently just grabbed this. I believe this is Austrian. I don't know if you've had this.
Bring it closer to the camera.
I think the light.
Right. Yeah, I'll issue PEP, PEPP.
Yeah.
And it's an Austrian wine.
Yes.
Here,
Um,
try that lighting. Try.
I don't know how to pronounce the grape variety, but it's a Nieders Roast Turek. Nieders, yeah, I don't.
I think that's I will show.
Nieders roast. I see the back there. Yes.
Yeah, it's delicious.
Looks like a little Andy Warhol picture.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll have a glass with you. That way you're not drinking alone.
I toast you. So what
Only right.
are we doing with that with the maple? Are we adding that into the soup at the end?
Oh, no, so that the maple is actually just going to be a garnish on top of the soup.
Okay.
Yeah.
So mine has not really solidified to jam yet, but I can.
Yeah. No. So it's actually we don't want it to solidify to jam necessarily. We want it to have that maple syrup consistency. What's going to turn to jam is going to be or I guess once the shallots cook down all the way.
Yeah.
That's going to be your jam essentially.
Gotcha. Okay, I'm following you. I'm following you. So I'm
So
one of
it'll be
those
a
chefs
shallot
that
jam.
clean as I go. What about you?
With all of that. I'm sorry?
I said I'm one of those chefs that clean as I go. Are you one of those chefs as well?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
yeah, no, we try to between Anna and I, we're good at tag teaming and cleaning up, as we go, especially when we're doing our on-site services.
Yeah.
We're a dynamic duo, I gotta say.
So with laws changing here in the U.S. when it comes to cannabis, what made you get into this? Had you always cooked with cannabis as a main ingredient?
Well, not always as a main ingredient. I think just in college, I went to Johnson & Wales, and I guess the group of guys that I lived with, we always smoked cannabis and enjoyed it, and always wanted to cook with it. And we always made ice cream, we always made treats and things like that. And that was something we did for fun. But it wasn't until moving to Massachusetts and kind of seeing the laws change and kind of putting kind of like reigniting that passion or that that fun that we had when we were in college making edibles.
Yeah.
And kind of like now with everything that I've learned in the culinary industry and kind of bringing the knowledge and the skill and in using the ingredient, but like using it in a way that maybe hasn't been done before or is unique and to some perspective.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's pretty much a new trail that we're trying to blaze. So yeah.
So when you cook with cannabis, and actually this is the first time I have cooked. I made brownies when I was in college as well, but I've never cooked with it. And so is it the same thing when you're cooking with it, like with an edible, where it could take an hour for something to kick in? And does every course that you're making have minute amount of dosage in there? I see these shows that on Vice and stuff like that where they're in a culinary, and I'm thinking, God, they must be just totally baked at the end and not able to even function. Is that? How do you do that? Because that's a part that I've never really understood.
So basically, our mission is to make sure that you're not at a vegetative state by the end of our dinner.
Yeah.
The doses do progress, but we try to get when we sit down with folks and curate and plan their dinner, we try to get a really good understanding for what their capacity is as far as how they consume cannabis, how often do they consume edibles, how often do they smoke, do they like bongs, joints, blunts, because all of that information kind of lets us know, all right, these folks want to be, they either want to get a high dose dinner or kind of a moderate dose, low dose, and just, feel good and have fun.
Okay.
So yeah, we try to do that. We try to, talk to them and engage that and, try to understand what they want. And, because we don't want to make anyone feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. And so with that, are you generally using a cannabis infused butter, olive oil? Are you using the grinding the buds up and sprinkling the buds on as well, or are these all different ways?
All the above.
All the above.
So yeah, I like to make olive oil, a kind of like a blended oil it's like vegetable oil and olive oil and a little bit of corn oil. So it's all blended together, but I'll infuse that. I like using that because it makes like a high smoke point, so I can actually like sear something with it.
Okay.
But yeah, olive oil for sure. Coconut oil, grapeseed oil. We like to make tinctures with grain alcohol. So making like an RSO or a Rick Simpson oil with grain alcohol, and kind of like letting that reduce down to like a syrup consistency, and a little bit of that goes a long way. And that has actually been a really good way for us to be able to do what we do and kind of mask the flavors of cannabis a little bit. But often I'll make like, I have like I'll decarb or decarboxylize the cannabis and make like a salt seasoning rub or something like that, and maybe add that as a finishing. So it's already decarbed cannabis. So when you ingest it, it's already activated, but you get to taste. Maybe if it had like a high terpene profile and it goes well with what I want you to taste it, maybe like with a crudo or something like that.
Yeah.
That we like to kind of pair it that way. I recently made like a citrus salt. So I basically just took the zest of lemons and limes and dried them out and kind of let them dehydrate for a little bit, and then blended that with salt, and then took decarb cannabis and then kind of finally ground it into that, and blended it all together and used that as a seasoning for a scallop dish that we did recently. So yeah, using it.
You say scallop dish?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we did a seared scallop.
Yeah.
And then I made a strawberry vinegar over the summer. So I used the strawberry vinegar to kind of like season the scallop a little bit, sear the scallops off, and then season it with the citrus, the cannabis citrus salt. And it was just like this explosion of flavor. I also paired it with a lacto-fermented green tomatoes that we grew on our fire escape. So
nice. On your fire escape. I love it. I love it. You using all square footage. Maybe we'll do one down the way, because I do get a lot of requests about people asking, how do I infuse cannabis and make it into cannabis olive oil or butter? And so maybe we can do another show about that. Is it an easy process?
It is pretty easy. It's just a kind of like a waiting process, a long process, but there are tools out there that make it very easy for folks. There's one that we can talk about. It's actually from Massachusetts. It's called the Ardent or Ardent machine or Ardent infuser. So yeah, folks can actually find them on Instagram or online. So it's spelled ARDENT, I think. So their product is great. We actually haven't used their product, but we've heard really, really good things about it.
Yeah.
So actually, maybe we can, talk to them and we can get something going. Use their product.
Maybe next show.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll donate a couple of those products for us. So we'll put them on the show and go that way too.
And the best part is they are local. They're Massachusetts, women-owned, local small business. So
Even better. So Edgar, what's the next step here? So I have the soup blended and it's a puree.
All right. So I guess at this point I would taste it to make sure that the seasoning is there as far as like the salt. And you can season it with a little bit more black pepper if you want, or more of the curry powder. Basically whatever you want to do. And you also want to taste it to make sure that the texture is where you want it. If it's still a little stringy, then you want to puree it a little bit more. But it really, it really depends on how you want to serve it. Personally, I like to serve things whenever I'm making a pureed soup. I like to, really get it super smooth to the point where it's like silk.
Oh man, delicious.
Yeah,
Okay.
awesome.
Mm. To me, it's perfect. So is this like a serve and go type of thing?
Yeah. So now that it's pureed, I'm gonna puree mine a little bit more. I'm gonna do mine a little bit more just to get it to the texture that I want. But I'll plate it and show you all what it should look like.
Wow, I mean that's delicious.
Oh, good. Wait till you have it with the toppings.
Yeah, huh?
Got the crispy shallots here.
Is that the maple syrup? Whoop.
That's okay. Pepitas, which are pumpkin seeds. And then we've got some chives.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so you can take your favorite bowl.
So I have that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be pretty.
And just serve, huh?
And just serve.
Yeah.
So you'll see that it's pretty thick.
Yeah, that's the way I love it.
Yeah, so you can, if you wanted to serve more people and have it go a little longer, you could obviously thin it out a little bit more with some more vegetable stock and some more cream.
So is this where you guys now put the pumpkin seeds on top?
Yeah, so you can lay the pumpkin seeds however you want. Some of the maple agradulce, and then
It looks like it's missing a little garnish. What am I missing? Are you putting something on there to make it a little green? I didn't have the chives like you mentioned, Anna.
Yeah, that's just so
I always
last minute garnish.
Yeah, chives. It's something we always keep as far as garnish it. But yeah, you can use whatever herbs you have in your fridge. You can use parsley. You can use basil.
I do like a little color on that, and
on top
let me see here.
of the soup. Yeah,
I mean,
really anything goes.
Anything goes, huh?
Anything goes.
I'll tell you what.
What order would you do it in?
Do you sprinkle a little oil on top, a little olive oil in there as well?
Yeah, so I go with my infused oil. Okay. So I'll hit it with a little bit of infused oil. So that's my infused olive oil.
Okay.
And then
I don't think it needs pepper, but I'm gonna, just for
you can
color on there.
Really,
we'll do that.
Really, whatever you want. I like to keep my maple agradulce in a squeeze bottle, so it's a little easier to handle. But
I'm using a little sprinkle of what I'm making the agradulce to put on top of this. Correct?
Correct. Yeah. So just the liquid from the agradulce.
Okay. So I'm gonna, and then for our guests at home which are following this, please be careful that it is.
Yes, because it's going to be very hot. So
very hot.
Ideally, what you want to do, so exactly what you're doing, just gently, pour it over and kind of as much as you want, as little as you want.
But just a liquid minus the. So I'm just doing, for our followers at home.
To be quite honest, you can put it all in there. I was just saying that if you don't want to, put that, if you reserve, whatever's cooked in there, you can use that later on other things, and it's a really good condiment on different things.
Beautiful.
And then for the folks at home, I have my own chili oil. So if you have chili oil, or if some kind of hot sauce or something like that, we like a little spice, so we like to use chili oil or something like that. So I'll put a little bit of that on there as well.
That's a little Caribbean in you, huh?
Yeah, exactly. I gotta have a little spice.
Bingo.
And then did we talk about the creme fraiche?
You know what? We didn't, but go for it.
Yeah, so creme fraiche, it's basically just basically like yogurt or sour cream, essentially. So with this creme fraiche, what I did was I took, so this one's a special one that I made. I made a preserved lemon creme fraiche.
Beautiful.
But if you don't have preserved lemons at home, you can just take you can just take some lemon juice and some lemon zest, some sour cream.
And that's what I did. I was at my grocery store today, and they didn't have the creme fraiche, but I do have the sour cream.
Yeah, so sour cream works just as well. A little bit of olive oil in there.
Yeah. And
mix it all up. If it's too thin, maybe add a little bit more creme fraiche. I always start with like a cup or something like that, and then kind of go from there.
And I'm going to do a little head start in front of you here. I have my little chai mocktail.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So is there any garnish in the mocktail, or is it just adding your CBD tincture?
You can add your CBD tincture as well as maybe garnish with a cinnamon stick if you have.
I don't have a cinnamon stick, but I did put the thing in there, the cinnamon powder.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of cinnamon powder on top, or some cocoa powder on top.
Yeah. And so for our listeners that have been United Patients Group followers for some time, I'm using my favorite CBD, which is Aspen Green, and you can go to our website and take a look at that at unitedpagentsgroup.com and go to the Aspen Green link. They are giving our followers 20% off discount, but CBD of your choice. This is what I use. It's USDA certified organic hemp, and so and again, Edgar, if you don't have this, I'll send you and Anna some, or have them send you some of this product. It's
yeah, that'd be great. Right now, we're actually using a really close friend of ours, Hemp and Flower from out in Colorado.
What's it called?
Hemp and Flower.
Hemp and Flower. Cool.
Yeah. But yeah, we would love to. Yeah, we would love to have that.
I'll have them send it. And so for our followers that have not experienced Aspen Green, please take a look at, like I said, on our website. They're giving a coupon code UPGCBD for 20% off. And then what Edgar's using, one of his favorites, Hemp and Flower, is what you're mentioning as well. So you're saying, Edgar, I shook it up and I'm just putting it directly into the bottle, correct?
Yes, and then just give it a little stir and enjoy.
So what do you recommend me doing first? The soup or the mocktail?
I would try the mocktail. Have you tried it yet?
I haven't tried the mocktail. So it's still a little warm.
Okay.
Which, I guess because it's been simmering.
Right. So yeah, so you could either serve it.
Wow.
We also put
Delicious.
honey in it.
Yeah. So if you want it, if you think it's not sweet enough, we actually put our own medicated honey in it as well. You could do some more maple syrup
all day long.
Yeah. So this is what our soup looks like.
And here, I'll give you a shot of mine. Perfect.
That looks great.
Nice. Oh yeah.
I told you, I'm a good student. I'm the home chef like you, or home chef taking lessons from you guys. So
yeah, you got to get a bite there with everything in there.
So here we go. First bite.
All right.
All right. You want to grab some spoons? I'll grab some spoons.
Wow.
How is it?
It's delicious. Really delicious. And I'm not just saying that. It's actually delicious. There you go.
That's awesome. All right.
I love butternut squash. I love when you guys, out of all the recipes that you guys could have chosen,
Mhm.
I mean, you said, hey, we decided, after brainstorming, we're going to go with this. And I was like, oh, you're speaking my language.
Oh, nice.
Mm.
Mm.
Wow. And the pumpkin seeds
Yeah.
really add a nice flavor to it as well.
Yeah.
Mhm. Wow. The maple agradulce is like.
Yeah. Do you get the maple agradulce in there at all?
Mm.
Um,
This is something.
Yeah,
Oh, and I forgot the best part.
Oh yeah.
there you go.
Fun
I know,
and red.
Yeah, we got some too.
There you go. Perfect.
Rip away and dig
Rip
in.
and dip.
Rip and dip is right. Mm.
I'm gonna keep going here.
Wow, guys.
Mm.
I'm not just saying that. This is delicious. Holy moly, I have chills. It's that good.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. Well, cheers.
I'm a fan of Andy Zimmern, of course. Anthony
Yep.
Bourdain, Miss Brown, and I've only seen Andrew Zimmer spit out 2 items in his life.
Yeah.
One was horchata, which is normally sweet, but he had it down in South America. And he goes, "This is the original horchata." He goes, "I can't drink it. I can't do it." The other one was over in I think in Taiwan or Hong Kong, and he was having fermented tofu.
Oh yeah.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
Yeah.
So,
I think I saw that one.
but this is absolutely delicious, and I can't thank you guys enough. Mm.
Thank you for doing this.
Coming on and sharing your passion for cooking, sharing your knowledge, but your love for each other, and making this a great Thanksgiving. And I cannot thank you both enough for coming on. And,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us. This was fun. This was a lot of fun. Can't wait for the next one.
The Hunts, Anna and Edgar Hunt, out of
Thank you.
Boston, Massachusetts, with Dope Dinners. You can find them on Dope Dinners Boston on Instagram.
Yep.
And your website, guys, is it dopedinners.com or what is it?
Well, we're currently building it, so
Yeah. So
Stay
right now
tuned
it's
for it.
just, you can find us on Instagram, and then we've got an email, dopedinnersboston@gmail.com. So you can shoot us an email, ask us any questions you've got.
It's fantastic, and would love to have you back on. Let's make this a regular thing.
absolutely.
Great.
And because the topic comes up, how can I cook with this? And I said, I really know nothing about cooking with cannabis. And so for you guys to come on and share your knowledge and passion, as I mentioned, I so appreciate it, because it is absolutely delicious. And I will put the menu down, the recipe down for everyone to follow as well. And as you saw, this was step by step. The only portion that I stopped was waiting 45 minutes as I did a pre-cooked or baked, I should say, the vegetables. Other than that, we've done everything in real time. And
Yeah.
I'm going to take another bite before we take off.
All right.
But delicious.
All right.
So Anna and Edgar, Dope Dinners Boston. You can find them on Instagram. And if you have any questions, they would love to share their menu with them or share their recipes with you.
Absolutely.
Please have them over for dinner. You guys do take out in the Boston area, but when we all get back to normal, hopefully this isn't our new normal. You'll have Edgar and Anna over to your house preparing for you, private parties, weddings, whatever. But
Absolutely.
I thank you, and I wish everybody a warm and happy Thanksgiving.
Absolutely.
You're able to be with family. Maybe we've turned into a Zoom society where everyone, I know this is going to happen in the Malanca family. We didn't have we're not having our big Malanca celebration. And so it's going to be a smaller one this year, but I'll definitely share this recipe with the family, and God bless you both. And thank you so much. And I appreciate you coming on the show.
All right.
All right.
Everybody,
Thank
this
you
is
so
John
much.
Malanca.
Here.
Happy, exactly. Have a happy
Cheers.
Thanksgiving. And,
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
and enjoy, and we'll see you soon. Everybody,
All right.
All right. Cheers.
cheers to you. So, see you soon. Bye-bye.
Hi, John.
Hi, John Malanca here with United Patients Group. I hope you've enjoyed our videos. Please click like as well as subscribe to our channel here on YouTube. Also, follow us on Twitter at UPatientsGroup and on Facebook at United Patients Group. as well as for our podcast, please click the link in the description below. We'll see you there. Bye-bye.